Hey, and welcome to our second video in the Pillars of Traffic video series. So this is the second pillar of traffic, and it's about how to do effective research. So just a quick note here, it's kind of windy here in Costa Rica right now, so I apologize if there's a lot of wind in the background. What I want to talk about is broad versus wide targeting. So, what you want to do is, because a lot of people actually make this mistake when they come online. And first off, if you've never really done any kind of targeting or audience research or anything like that, a lot of people think kind of that, if you're selling a product or service, you just want to get it out in front of as many people as possible. And that's not really how you're going to build your business effectively. It's kind of like throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that it hits someone in the face that actually wants your product. And that can be very unlikely and also time consuming, because you want to make sure that the work you do is actually effective and not just kind of busy. There's a difference between doing something where it actually can yield you a result faster than doing something that, may be too broad or too wide where it doesn't get you that result that you are trying to get. So this is kind of that thing of broad versus wide targeting. So to give you an example, let's say I'm selling cat toys, right? And let's say I build an Instagram page or a Facebook fan page about cats, and a lot of people love cats, and so I gather audiences to me that love cats. Well, that's cool and all, but there's a lot of people that love cats that may or may not necessarily have a cat, and so I could grow a really big page where I may get thousands of followers. But what if I grow an account on Instagram or Facebook where it's a bit more targeted and it's possibly more about, something cat toy related? And it doesn't even have to be specifically cat toys. It can be something to do where you can target a little bit more down to where the person is more likely to have a cat. And so when you're going out and you see the first line here, cast a semi-wide net, but know your big fish. Ultimately and have to know that ideal customer avatar of yours. Who is it that you're trying to sell to? And the more specific you can be here, the more effective everything you do will be. And this actually surprises a lot of people because it can actually feel quite counterintuitive. But let me tell you that when, for example, I send an email or I do a post or share something on social media, I actually always have maybe one or two specific people in mind. And not necessarily, the thousands or the hundreds of people that I'm sending to or putting my post in front of. I'm actually only thinking of one or two people. And usually it's kind of funny because, I'll see a comment or a question, or someone emails us a question, or someone messages me a question or something like that. And I'll create a piece of content to answer that question, meaning that I'm actually answering that specific person. And of course, I'm clear on, is this person my ideal customer? And if yes, then that's kind of the people that I continue to focus on in our business, which means that the content we create continues to be very focused and continues to be very effective in helping our audience. And so that's why even, we actually don't have such a huge email list in comparison to a lot of people, because what we do is this laser targeting. And so we create email lists, we create, groups, we create, social media accounts where even the ones that are not necessarily that big actually yield us big results. For example, I have a lot of Instagram accounts, and some accounts, because they kind of go across different niches, and my mentality is if one account can do X amount in a day, well, 4 can do more in terms of the people it can reach. And it's kind of funny because I actually have some accounts where the accounts themselves aren't that big. They actually don't have that many followers, like let's say maybe 5,000 followers. Whereas I have some that are 10,000, 15,000 followers, and yet the one with maybe 5,000 followers actually gives us more leads and sales. And so it's a funny thing because you would think, well, the audience is smaller. Why is it bringing you more leads and sales? And it's because it's more targeted. It's more specific. The more specific you can get in your message, in your content, in your clarity as to who you are trying to ultimately sell to or share content to or provide value to, then all of your results are going to increase. And again, it can feel almost counterintuitive because everyone wants to come online and just, reach as many people as possible all over the world. Well, it's not going to work. And if it does, it's going to take a really long time, and your results are going to be so spread thin that you're not going to be running an actual business. It's going to shut down before you ever get a chance to get off the ground. Right? And so building a huge, huge audience isn't the only goal. You want to have a lot of traffic and you want to have a lot of people looking at your offer, but you want to have the right people looking at your offer. And so what you want to do is understand who that big fish is of yours. And so when you're creating that content, you're not going to necessarily be saying, if you're this person and you're a woman in the age of this and you're living in this place and this is your buying patterns and you have, this is what you do as a living. You're not going to actually write that in your content, obviously. But you're going to have an idea of that person and you're going to speak to that person's problems, needs, core desires, core dreams. And so you are still casting a bit of a wider net because more people can relate, but you always are kind of tweaking and clarifying consistently your customer avatar. It's an ongoing basis in marketing, and so what happens is that when you get any kind of feedback in the form of testimonials, comments, questions, even negative feedback, and I'm not saying, the really the haters feedback, you can ignore those people, but any kind of, maybe criticism or maybe something you would perceive as negative is still good because you can look at your marketing and say, okay, maybe my message here isn't clear enough. And maybe it's reaching the wrong people. And that's why maybe I'm getting these people that are quote unquote haters, right? It's not really a problem with them. It's not really a problem with you. It just means that you have to clarify who that ideal customer avatar is and understand if your marketing and your content is speaking to that specific avatar. And let me tell you, I know that there's people that feel almost, they almost don't want to speak so specifically, but this was that turning point in our business. And I can tell you, any kind of content, even shooting videos, I started doing videos and just doing selfie videos and shooting videos. The person I would speak to, and this is the easiest place to start, it was to myself. It was to my older self. I would just speak to my older self's problems, the things that I was struggling with, and the things that I had overcome already. And then as I progressed, as I became better at marketing and I started to study psychology and selling and all of that, I was able to effectively market to more people. But funny enough, everyone kind of knows this. People will relate to you specifically because they relate to a part of what you're sharing, a part of your story, maybe a part of your personality, a part of your struggle and your challenge. And they'll seek answers through your breakthrough, through the inspiration you share, through the content you share, the goodwill stuff you put out there. They'll relate to that and they'll want to be around you more and more and more. And so your story becomes very important in this whole kind of formula. Again, depending on what you're selling. But I'm going to always say, kind of side note, easiest place to start, and I'll talk more about this in the next video, easiest place to start when you're coming online and you're trying to build a business is to start more with what you know, what's kind of closer to home, because the kind of learning curves and hurdles you're going to have to overcome in terms of learning marketing and copywriting and all of that are far less because you know yourself, right? You know yourself. And if you're at a certain stage in business, even coming online and let's say starting a business, you're ahead of a lot of people that haven't even taken that step. And so this is that thing that you kind of got to consider. So knowing your avatar, ask questions like, who are they? What do they do? Where do they live? What are their problems? What are their core desires and dreams? And always speak to those. And also ask questions. Ask a lot of questions. Get to know that audience that's coming in and looking at your stuff and your content, because the more feedback they give you, the more content you automatically have to share. It's like a give and take. It's like an ongoing kind of endless stream of content that you can continue to create for that targeted audience. And at the same time, broadening your marketing skill set and building that audience and bringing more of different kinds of people in, right? So once you kind of have an idea of this, I really recommend to sit down and to just, if you like to write on paper or just on your computer, write down all the brainstorm here. Just write down everything. Think of that ideal customer, and ultimately kind of, if you're bringing people in to work with you, like let's say you're coaching people, who is that person you want to work with? It doesn't have to be that you have to just work with everyone. You also want to enjoy your business, and you want to work with people that you enjoy working with. And so write it all down. Put it down. What is your ideal customer? If you're selling a product, who is it going to really help? Who is it really for? And write all this down. Be as specific as you can. Think of a person. You can even name that person. You can name that avatar. And write down all of these things. Then from there, what you're going to do is you're going to look at that, and it's probably easier to do this on paper. I love writing on paper. I have like a million notebooks. And then what you're going to go through is you can circle key trigger keywords in that brainstorm. So either, you can go through and type it out, or you can write it down again, and you're going to take out those keywords. And these keywords are going to be words that you used in your audience research, as well as words that you use in your content, because that's how you grab attention, because you use those words because those words are important to your avatar. Talking about dreams and desires and problems. So some of you may have seen webinar 1 where I go into Instagram and top posts and all of that. So some of you may be aware of this, but I'll just go through this quick. And if this is the first time you're seeing it, I'm not going to do a live demo, but I think all of us have, if you're using Instagram, the little magnifying icon to do your search. So you're going to go to your Instagram app, you're going to click on the magnifying icon, and you can start under tags. Right? You can search under tags, which are hashtags. But one side note, and actually it's really effective, is if you click on people and search under people, but search with keywords. Because when people put keywords into their profile or their name, and even into their content, they can actually rank in that. And this is a tip for you too, for your profile, because you can rank for certain keywords doing this method, and it can be found under people in this way. So that's how you can find people. And then you're going to look for hashtags and find hashtag strains. So when you type into tags, if the hashtag is big enough, you're going to start to see related tags at the top that are going to be shown. And so what I recommend is that you sit down, you set aside some time to really sit down and do research, a few hours even, and just do all your research and just create a document and type it all out. And I do recommend that at the same time, because what I do is that I type out these documents and I have them available on a note, like a notepad on my device. And what I do is I group hashtags in like 5s or in 10s, so that if I'm taking hashtags to copy and paste onto a photo, because pasting hashtags into the first comment of your photo helps you to rank that photo in the feed for others that are searching, and can also help you get into top posts, then it's easy access, right? Because I can just copy and paste it. And at the same time, when you're going out and doing a manual method of going out and interacting with your target audience using the manual method that I taught in webinar 1, then you have that accessible as well, and you don't have to be on there searching for people, but you can have a document ready to go, and you can just look at the hashtags, look at the people, and then start commenting. So there's a difference, just like I'm saying now, there's a difference between photo hashtags versus targeting hashtags. Photo hashtags are hashtags you add to your own photos. Write down your photo hashtags on a note, right, just like I'm saying now, and understand that it's actually better to use hashtags that are medium to low competition. If you're using hashtags that have like over 1 million results in the hashtag field, then when you post your photo and you post it in that comment, those hashtags, your photo just literally posts and disappears into the feed, because there's so many photos being posted under that high competition hashtag that your photo doesn't even stick. It just keeps rolling. You know how a feed works. It just keeps going. And there's so many photos that your photo just gets lost. But if you post to a medium to low competition hashtag, your photo will stick much longer on the top of the feed, and it's actually easier to show up in top posts. So this is actually a strategy of how to show up in top posts. Just use medium to low competition hashtags on your photos, and post right when you post the photo, post those hashtags from your notes, And compile, where you have like a set of hashtags, like, because you can post up to 30 hashtags. You can kind of go between having like 10 that are low competition, and then maybe 20 that are medium competition, and just copy paste them right away into your comment, because your hashtags actually appear according to the date of the time you posted the photo, not when you posted the hashtags themselves. Because it used to be that you could post hashtags on old photos and you could re-rank them in the feed, but it doesn't work that way anymore. It only goes according to the date you post the photo. That's why you got to add the hashtags right away, so you can get that juice to that photo as soon as possible. And then what you're going to do is, there's a manual method, and the manual method is super simple. You set aside, even 30 minutes, an hour. An hour is going to compound like crazy for you if you do this daily, which obviously anything if you do consistently will compound, as long as the method works, and this does. What you're going to do is then you're also going to look at, so you're going to post a photo, you're going to add your photo hashtags, you're going to start to get people coming into your account, looking at your account, right? Just going off the feed. And at the same time, you're going to go out and you're going to look for even more targeted accounts, that key avatar, the big fish that you're looking for based off the avatar profile you already created. And you're going to look for even more targeted profiles that you can then manually like 5 to 6 photos, leave them 2 to 3 insightful comments on those photos, and pick 2 or 3 photos and leave insightful comments, and then follow them. Because what happens is that when you do this manually, all of a sudden they have this person that just liked, commented, and followed, and it shows up on their Instagram feed when they log into Instagram, or it comes up on their notifications. And so if you like 5, 6 photos, also follow, also leave comments, you kind of show up as like, you're kind of like in the feed, and it's just you. And so they're going to be like, who is this person? Why, is this person commenting? And they're going to come back to your profile and they're going to look. And, video 3, we're going to talk about, you have a link on your profile. Well, you want people to click on that link. First, you got to get people to look at your profile, but you need to send that traffic somewhere. Not just, it's your Instagram account and it ends there. There needs to be a link on your account. And so a combination of those photo hashtags on your photos brings traffic in, and also going and manually commenting, liking, and following on that even more targeted avatar is going to bring even more targeted traffic into your account, and your account is just going to keep growing and growing and growing. So that's one example. Another example is YouTube. So I've kind of mentioned, in terms of traffic sources for us the past 5 years, the most effective have been Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And so I'm kind of doing a bit of a how-to in any of these. I do recommend, pretty much what you're doing is it's like you're building out a stool with traffic legs, right? And so what happens is that it becomes kind of this firm foundation where you have traffic compounding on all 3 kind of fronts, right? But what you want to do is you first have to build out one consistently to the point where it starts to compound and build momentum, and it's kind of running. Then you go on the next one, then you go on the next one. So just be aware of that. So on YouTube, the way that it works on YouTube is that you can, and if you don't know anything about SEO, SEO is search engine optimization. We've all gone on Google, we've all gone on YouTube and typed something in and searched for something. And so what you're doing is, if you're ranking videos on YouTube, you're putting yourself in front of that search traffic. And what you want to do is you want to go for keywords of at least 3 to 7 words. What that means, and I'll show you live in a moment, what that means is that a longer kind of phrase, it becomes easier to rank for it. If you're going for something like cat videos, how many people are out there posting cat videos? The results are in the millions. And so again, kind of like that Instagram feed, your video is not going to just even make it. It's not going to make it to like the first page of YouTube. Whereas if you post something more specific, a longer title on your video, you're creating videos, you shot a video of your cat, you're selling cat toys. I have cats, I love cats, that's why my examples always are cats. But, so you shoot a video, you post your cat video, in the comment of your YouTube video, you have a link, right? You always send them somewhere. And so what you're going to do is you're going to create a longer keyword that's at least 3 to 7 words. And now as a tip in your video title, so you add a heading, And what I always do is I'll also add a subheading. This will help you to rank for more combinations of long tail keywords. So let me actually show you a live example. So I'll go over here to YouTube. So I'm on YouTube, right? So what you do is, so let's say I'm going to look at cat videos. Now look, see how in the search I typed in cat videos. That's 2 words. But now what you can do is, notice how these always show up. This is ideas of what you can actually use in your titles. Grab these longer titles, you know, cat videos for cats to watch. Cat videos, try not to laugh. This longer keyword, take as one part of the headline in your video, and now you have a longer tail keyword to go for, and it's going to be easier to rank. So let me show you. So if I click on cat videos, there are literally over 38 million results, right? So if I go back, I click it here again, cat videos, and I click on the second one, cat videos for cats to watch, it drops now to 17 million. Still really, really high. But this is the whole idea behind it. So let me show you kind of, so this is actually how you do research, like the simplest, easiest method to do research for keywords on YouTube. You just type it in and it'll show you, you know, so cat videos for cats to watch, mouse. Right? And then now this is going to drop even more. Now it dropped to 1.5 million. And you want to drop this number, you know, even in the millions, you're probably not going to rank for it. I would go for the low thousands. And you're going to start there, even the hundreds, right? If you're just getting started and you have like a brand new YouTube channel, then go for the hundreds and slowly start to build up. And using this method where, like as you see here, so see how it says cat games dash mouse hunt 1 hour version. Mouse videos for cats to watch dash mice. That's an idea of a heading and a subheading. This is pretty much how you can kind of maximize the ability to rank your videos. So let me show you some of my videos. So if I type in how to use Periscope, let me just delete this part. How to use Periscope. I'm not anywhere here. I'm not on the first page. So that's a shorter key term. That's 4 words, right? But if I type in iPhones, and actually let me show you here, this one has a result of over 2.5 million, right? But if I type iPhones, my video is on the first spot. The results here are 441,000, and I've got above 500 views on this video, but I outrank these people, and I show up for this keyword. And then now what I did was how to use Periscope dash quick Periscope training for iPhones. So see how I didn't even rank necessarily for the words in order, but I rank for those words. And I actually rank for multiple versions of the words, kind of like reordered around. That's why if you use a heading and a subheading, you're actually massively increasing the chances of ranking for keywords you may not even think of. And so to give you another example, 4-hour work week. Let me just type 4-hour work week. So this has a result of over 37 million. And actually I used to rank for it. I just got to optimize some videos and I can get back onto the first page. Actually I am on the first page, so I'm lower down, but I'm right here, right? This video has gotten over 7,000 views. So I'm kind of near the bottom, and so that's awesome, right? And again, I actually like stuffed this with as many words as I could. 4-hour work week success story, being realistic versus unrealistic entrepreneur's journey, right? So that's a lot of words. But if I type in success story, right, obviously the results go down in terms of search results, 1.8, but I'm on the second spot now. So that's an example of that. Another one that I shot was, for example, foot strengthening exercises. If I just go for the 3 words, this is 2.3 million results, right? I'm not anywhere here. But if I type in the word Vibrams, because the Vibrams are those toe shoes, I'm right here. So this has gotten over 2,000 views. And so I put foot strengthening exercises, Vibram 5 fingers, my love of toe shoes, right? And then funny enough, this video series that I'm shooting right now, what I did was I did this video yesterday and I didn't even mean to rank for it, but I automatically know, you know, if I'm going to use a keyword that I would probably think of or search. And so 3 pillars of traffic, how to choose your traffic source. So 3 pillars of traffic, I ranked in the first spot right away. Just 23 hours ago, this was streamed, right? So I already got 43 views, and the results here are over 8,000. But what I realized was, because I have how to choose your traffic source. If I type how to choose a traffic source, this has over 110,000 results, and I'm in the first spot. I've outranked these people, right? Because there's this whole page, and I dropped in on the first spot right away. If I hadn't done the second part of the headline, I wouldn't have. So you want to maximize this. And then I have this too, how to use Instagram, right? So I don't actually show up for how to use Instagram because that's pretty short, pretty high competition. It's over 23 million results. But if I type in quick training, I'm on the first spot here. How to use Instagram, quick Instagram training, and this one has gotten over 29,000 views, right? I'm in the first spot. So I want you to consider this when you're doing YouTube videos. If you're already shooting videos, and videos are everywhere, like if you're shooting videos for Facebook, then just download the video and then upload it to YouTube and just put in some keywords, put in some titles into your video, right? Use this idea of heading and subheading. And even if you're not actively working on ranking it, you may still actually get in front of keywords just by doing an extra, like however long it takes you, a few minutes of doing an upload to your YouTube channel and just adding in a few words. Put the words as well into your description, and then you can drop in a link wherever you want to send them, and there you go. You're leveraging your work, right? So that's one example. And then going into Facebook. So Facebook research, right? You can actually go into Facebook and you can type in keywords in Facebook search, and then from there you can look at fan pages in your niche and look at their engagement and comments. So over here, let's say I go here and I type in some on Facebook, barefoot running. So the way it works is that it'll start off, you can actually go through these categories, you can filter, so latest, people, photos, videos, shop, pages. So you probably go to pages. It starts off with the pages here, so you can click see all. And so it gives you a rundown of the pages, how many likes they have, then you can click and check out the page itself. Right, so this is how you would do your research and see where, what you can do is that you can go to these pages and start to interact, start to look at the comments and engagement on the page. But actually what I wanted to share, so you can do that kind of basic search on Facebook. But kind of side note, I want to show you something really cool. You may have seen our Endless Summer Profits workshop, and it's actually it's kind of recently that we've opened this course, and it's people we're working with through this course where we actually give you, all the things I'm teaching here. I'm giving this for free, right? It's public training, and it's because I want to help you get a result. I want to help you actually get off the ground and not give you kind of go around kind of stuff where you don't actually get any kind of good content. And so I have been alluding to the webinar series. Webinar 1, we actually show you our direct Instagram strategy of how to get into top posts. If you know how to get into top posts, you know how to get your photos in front of thousands potentially of people. And so if you want that training, just ask for it. Ask, just say, hey, I want the Webinar 1 training if you don't know where it is or you can't find it. And you can definitely access that and check that out, as well as the rest of the webinar series. And that's free. That's available right now, and so you can check that out. But I do want to show you this where we have like this really cool thing in Endless Summer Profits. If you're thinking of joining the course, this is something that we have actually, we're adding in very shortly, and it's like an in-house, it's actually, it's ours, it's a targeting software where you can actually go into Facebook, and just like what I just did, where I looked for the fan pages, right? You actually have to go manually and look at them and kind of figure them out. But what this does is that it gives you information that's just super cool and super helpful. So for example, I typed in barefoot running, right? So I typed in barefoot running, and what it does, and you can do multiple things here. You can actually do filters, like a ton of filters. You can filter out categories. You can look at different minimum likes, countries. PTAT stands for engagement of the actual fan page, because sometimes what happens is that even though a fan page may have a lot of likes, they may have an engagement of like 1%. And so those fan pages aren't necessarily the pages you even want to target, because their pages aren't engaged, right? You don't want to actually go for a non-engaged audience. And so what this does is that it actually shows you, right? So this is the page. So I could actually click this. It would go straight to Facebook. It shows you the categories. So some are in sporting, community, website. It shows you if they have a website link. So you can actually check out their links and see what they're actually promoting. And then here it shows you the likes. And now look at this. This is the likes, and this is the PTAT, which is the engagement. It's 0. That's not good. So even though the page is big, it has 0 engagement. That's not really a good page to check out. If anything, you can go to the page and see maybe what they're doing wrong. Why isn't their content getting any engagement? And then one really cool thing here that they have is that you can actually click on these icons. And this is really fantastic for, so let me just go in here. Just logged me out. What it does is it gives you hashtags. So super cool. It gives you other hashtags, and you can of course take these hashtags and now search them even more in this targeting inspector. You can take these hashtags over to Instagram and just check it out. You can look for them on YouTube, and you can incorporate these keywords because they're different keywords like this. Like you wouldn't have never thought of this keyword, Terra Mahura, or Terra Humara, I don't know how to pronounce that, but this is actually a running tribe that is written about in the Born to Run book, and I know this because I actually do like barefoot minimalist running. But this is a keyword that normal people that don't really know too much about it maybe don't know, and so it gives you all this really cool extra keyword kind of research. And so and then on top of that, what it does is that so it shows you the country, it shows you the PTAT. You can click on this. And now what it does is it shows me a page. So this is actually Barefoot Running Italia, the website that they go to. It shows me the likes. So the likes are actually lower here than on the other one, but the engagement is way higher. And so if you're going in trying to find audiences, like even let's say you're running Facebook ads, this would be a far better page to target with your ads, or going for that audience, because they're way more engaged, right? You want to actually go for people where there's an audience there that's interacting with the content. And also if you're building out similar niche, like a kind of a niche where it's for your brand or product or service, you can look at the content they're sharing as well and see, okay, well, this page is actually getting a lot of engagement. Let me see if I can model anything, or maybe get ideas for content of what you can share. What actually works for that niche. So this is just something really cool. Actually, this Endless Summer Profits Facebook inspector is actually $1 for our workshop attendees because it is an external software. So we had to charge something for it. So actually we're charging $1. It's going to be released very shortly to the people in that course. And so if you want to check that out, you can get more info on that. I will be talking more about that in the next video if you do want to check that out. If not, totally cool. And you can definitely take the things that I've taught here and implement them in your business and start to get clear on your avatar, and then go out and start doing your research. And you can definitely get on YouTube, start posting videos, or get onto Instagram, start doing that top post method and the manual interaction method. And it doesn't really take long, and you can start growing your audience. This is where you start to build traffic. You just have to choose your traffic source, choose what you're going to focus on, and start building it. And then next week, or not next week, next video, which is actually tomorrow, we're going to tell you where to send your traffic and talk more about monetization. So thanks guys, and Pura Vida.